The whole idea of the technical delegate is, if possible, have one person do every event in that discipline, so you get the continuity. And luckily for the IFSC, A, I'm stupid enough to do it, but B, my regular job, so to speak, allows me to have virtually as much time off as I want, so I'm able to do this. The only one I can't do is high hang, because that coincides with the British Championship, which is at my climbing gym, and so I'm helping run that event. Oh, it's great. I mean, you know, working in the hobby that you've done all your life. I mean, I started climbing when I was 7, although I didn't really take it up properly till I was 15. And to, as you say, watch people. I mean, like Shauna here, Shauna Coxey. I've known Shauna through competitions in Britain since she was 14. So, you know, to see her develop as a national champion and now coming on and winning gold medals, it's an amazing feeling to see that progression and to be part of it. It's great. We've always had good Americans. We've got great Canadians, with Sean McColl in particular. The Asians, I mean, in lead we have Jain and Jabi, the Kims, doing really well, and of course the Japanese in bouldering. I mean, every event there's a new Japanese climber in the final that we've never seen them before. They have an amazing production line. I believe they have really good support for their youth team in Japan. That's why we see all these climbers coming through. Obviously Europe is really strong. We've always had incredibly strong climbers from Russia and Ukraine and places. So it's a fantastic worldwide sport. We've got the 2 guys from Australia here who seem to be taking turns in who's getting either to the final or close. So yeah, we've got people from all around the world. No one nation really dominates anymore. Obviously we've had Killian and Anna who have won an awful lot, but they still don't really totally dominate. Killian's been Mr. Consistent, but he's not won as many gold medals as you might expect when you see how many overall titles he's won. Well, Roland's the guy from Latvia. I mean, he's been doing the comps for a couple of years now, but he was sort of might get into the semi-final if he was doing really well. He's on the, you know, he's challenging for finals this year, so he's come on really well. Maurizio from Mexico, he's not doing so well this year, but last year he was challenging for finals. So yeah, it's great to see the new countries come through. The first World Cups were lead only, and we had a few speed ones, because obviously speed climbing's got a really long history going back, depending on who you believe, either to the 40s or even the 20s, particularly in the USSR as it was then. But bouldering comps developed mainly at local gyms in the early 90s, and there were 2 sort of internationals developed. I used to run an event called the Fibbo at the Foundry in Sheffield, which was run on the back of the Lead World Cup in Birmingham, and the French had their Top Rock Challenge, and independently we both developed virtually identical rules that are the basis of what we see now. Myself and the guy was called Olivier Guidi from the FFME. We both developed the tops, number of attempts, bonus, although really it's tie break, but it's a bit too long to fit on your graphics, so we call it bonus, and then attempts. And those rules have been in place since probably 96, maybe even 95. Yeah, well, even number 1 here in men's qualification, it's actually set as a running jump, but you can mantle the start, as we saw with Dimitri, first guy out. He saw it as a mantle and did it like that. Others have seen it as a running jump. So there's always more than one way to skin a cat. Yeah. And I hate to admit it, because one of my business partners is Percy Bishton, who's one of the international route setters. These guys know what they're doing. Yeah, the first World Cup was in Leeds, in the Queen's Hall that got demolished about a month afterwards. The reels were in the infancy, nobody really knew what was going on. And in those days, the judges used to hang on ropes and measure the exact height. So it wasn't hold by hold. So your climber would get to a hole, lock off, and just reach the full stretch. Touch the wall. We had a laser theodolite, and the judges would point their little stick with a red arrow at the end and measure the exact height. It's arguable that the taller climbers had a big advantage in those days. In fact, it's almost 100%, and that's why we changed to the hold by hold. So you'd see a height 15.17, which literally meant 15.17 metres. Yeah. If you were a bit taller, you'd get 15.2. But it's come on an awful lot. I mean, in those days, the walls were barely overhanging. I mean, the Leeds 89, it was a mixture of slabs and gentle overhangs. Nothing like the walls that we have now for lead competitions. Leeds 89 sticks in the mind a lot more than any other one, because it was the first one anybody was involved with. It was won by Jerry Moffat, one of my friends from Sheffield. It was on video back in the days of VHS. Don't know whether many of your viewers will know what that is. No. But that one sticks in the mind. Now, I have to say, sometimes just like, was that Vail 2009? Was that Vail 2010? There's a lot to process, and I have to admit my brain gets a bit befuddled sometimes. I've probably been to 100 World Cups, which is more than anybody bar the competitors. But you know, the last 3 years I've probably averaged 12 to 15 events, so 50 just in those 3 years. So yeah, I've been around, seen a few things. Two other guys do the technical delegate job. They both work for the FFME, the French Federation. So obviously they can't work in France because, you know, be a conflict of interest. So Chamonix, Briançon, Valence, even the World Youth Championships, because whilst it's not in France, it's run by the French. So I get to work on those competitions. Plus, you know, we do a bit of swapping around every now and again. So I'm working in IMS this year. I'm working at the World Championships in Gijón in northern Spain. So yeah, I still keep my hand in and lead. Well, the IFSC and our marketing director has done a really good job to standardise things. I mean, I guess it's just the continuation of standardising the technical delegate, to have consistency not only in the personnel, but standardisation in the branding, in the size of the start numbers, everything like that. So yes, it's great to see this progression. At the moment, I can't see there being a World Cup, although of course Ratho and Edinburgh every year has at least a European Youth Cup. This year, in fact, I think it's 2 weekends' time, they have the European Youth League and Speed Championships. So yes, we do have international events in Britain, but at the moment, a World Cup, I can't see it for a few years. I'd love it to come back to Sheffield, where we had the World Cup in 2010 and 2011, but after the financial crisis, I can't see it happening in Sheffield for a good few years. Oh yes, to build a temporary wall, to turn it into a World Cup, you're talking an overall budget of close to £100,000, €120,000. And you had to find that money. It was in Sheffield, it was bankrolled by the City Council. But with the pressure that, you know, city councils are under, they just can't justify that kind of risk. I mean, it wasn't that they spent that money because they had income, but it's a gamble. If the weather was bad, like 2 years ago, where it washed out Cliffhanger, the city council lost, I don't know, £50,000. You know, city councils can't do that at the moment. So we'd need a private sponsor, and finding that is not easy. Female boulderer, and would be Sandrine Levet from France. She won, I think there was 6 titles, but the reason I'm picking Sandrine is she also used to win lead World Cups. In Edinburgh in 2003, in 3 days she won the combined lead and bouldering World Cups, which is unprecedented before and since. So that's why I'm picking Sandrine above somebody like Anna. Men, my favourite would be Salavat Rakhmetov. Salavat won the World Championships in Munich in 2005. I believe he was age 39. And to win the World Championship then, especially in the mid-noughties when the standard was going up and up and up, it was just incredible. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend that event, but I was told that the whole crowd were just chanting Salavat's name. So Salavat must be my favourite. Not necessarily the best, but my favourite. Oh, it's going up all the time. I mean, the women's, the jump is so much more noticeable this year, but at the men's level, just every year, you see the difference between getting into semi-final and being 40th is not very much anymore. I mean, all of the guys are so strong, so it's just a case of if it works on the day, then you qualify. And say with the women, you got the famous 5, but then there's another group of women. You know, as you said, Julia Kruder qualifying in her 3rd Boulder World Cup, I believe it was, for the final. It's incredible that the standard in depth is so high. I mean, when you look at events such as Innsbruck, where we're in the iconic centre of the town and stuff, with an absolutely incredibly packed audience and with a good light show and stuff like that, there's always room for improvement. I mean, this is a great event, but but it's a daylight show. It's not a Soleil Lumiere, so to speak. And when you look at what happened in Bercy, the World Championships, the French put on an incredible show. So it's not just about the actual climbing the wall, it's the add-ons, you know, the spotlights, the everything like that. So we can improve in so many ways, but we already have a great sport, we have great events, but they can improve. I'd just like to give a big shout out to Andy Earle, one of the British team for over the years who won the Bouldering World Cup and Lad Reunion. Andy, you know why I'm giving you a shout, so I hope you see the constant improvement, mate. Yeah, well, he used to get to finals regularly, but also he did suffer an aneurysm a few years ago, and he's slowly improving, so like, come on Andy, keep getting better, mate.